Hi everybody, my name is Alessandro De Paulis. I'm a product specialist for Tecnobody. Today I'm going to introduce the new concept, the new view of this treadmill that represents the future and the present of rehabilitation and sport devices. It's our walker view, and what are the most features of this new device, starting from the hardware, so for what you can see, the external part, and starting from the base, where you can run or walk, as in this case. The features of this of the base is about 8 load cells, so 4 load cells on the right side and 4 on the left side that allowed us to understand and to get more information and data about the quality of the gate. On the top of this, you can see in the middle one simple but very clever feature that is a white line that provides feedback instantly in real time about the symmetry on the right and on the left walk stance. Keep going on the hardware, so on the external part of this walker view. As you can see, in front of the patient or the user, you can see a huge screen, a 50-inch screen, in which that represents like a mirror, digital mirror with a lot of technology, as you can see, applied, that allows us to understand and to get all the information in real time about the walking stance and so on, features that we will see later on. But how can this device can see the user on this? Through a camera, a very powerful camera that is a 3D camera with red frames that allows to keep and to reconstruct and build all the segments of the body. All of this system is managed by a main PC, by a main computer that you can have, that you can see over here, in which the trainer can organize the programs, can see the results, the test, and so on. Well, now we get into more the features of this walker view, this technology applied in real time. So, as you can see, again, through the camera, we can detect all the main points, the main joints of the customers on the walker view without any markers. This is very innovative because you can see that without applying any kind of markers, in a quick way, very easy, very smart, the camera can understand straight away all the points, all the joints of the body and reconstruct through these lines, as you can see, the skeleton of the users. On the top of this, through the load cells and always the camera, which kind of information provide this walker view? Well, as you can see, you can have information about the trunk, so the upper part of the body, in terms of flexion extension on the sagittal planes, and about the hips and the knees comparison in terms of range of motion, so flexion, extension, comparison between the right side and the left side, both for the hips and for the knees. So very important to understand the quality of the walk or of the running. On the top of this, which kind of other information provide the walker view? Through the load cells, for example, we can understand the step length. So very important to understand if the right step length is the same of the left or if there are any kind of difference. Again, there are information about the contact time. So how much time I spend during the fence stays to the stance phase on the right compared to the left. Both you see here 2 lines, so in real time and also an average that has been done after 10 steps. And again, which kind of information we can detect? It's about this load analysis, so the load applied on the right and on the left, and the sway of the center of pressure, so the sway of your body weight. Coming back to the main screen, when I see that you can have 3D and virtual reality information, it's about this camera that allowed to reconstruct the user through different kind of avatars. In this case, we select like a kid, and through the screen I can rotate all the monitor and give different kind of feedbacks to the users, but as well for the therapist, and get more data about the quality of the movement. We don't have just the kid avatar, but as well you can select like the man, or like in this case more appropriate about a lady. And as you can see, always the power of this camera, that if our user is doing some movements, the camera is going to detect very accurately, with the precision of a couple of degrees, very smart and very quick, the user. Very important data is as well the COG, so the center of gravity. It's about the sway on the frontal plane, so on the vertical movement of the center of gravity. Usually when you're walking, the center of gravity is quite low, quite down. But it's becoming very important, for example, during running, because more the center of gravity is going up and down, more it means that the efficiency of the running is not that good. So a very important feature always given by the camera. We see now a typical report that you get after each kind of training or test, or during a quick start. Which kind of report? Well, it's a kind of summary of all the test. It's about, as you can see here on the green line, the report provides information about the trunk movement in the sagittal plane, flexion extension with the average value, with the total range of motion, as well on the frontal plane, on the medium lateral movements. And then, as you can see over here, you have the comparison in between the right side and the left side, in between the range of motion on the hips, on the knees, and then we can analyze the step length on the left and on the right, the contact time in terms of seconds, and the load symmetry, so if there are any kind of difference during the contact time. On the top of all of these features, very important to analyze and to get information about the quality of the walking or of the running, you can detect and you can have classical, I would say classical information about the distance, about the time, the speed, and as well the heart rate through a polar system. As you can see over here, there is a feature, of course, about this report where you can print or you can collect as information as data for your patient or user. So all the time, the trainer or the therapist is able to print and to get an history of all the tests about the user. I'm going now to introduce the new tools that Tecnobody created this year as an integration for the gait analysis or running analysis. What is it about? It's about these little disposals that they are sensor inertial systems, so IMU, that you can apply on the top of the foot, and they're going to provide information about the flexion, extension of the ankle and the pronosupination of the ankles. Obviously, there are two sensors, so you can combine and you can analyze the two movements of the ankle right compared to the ankle left. These kind of disposals, sensors, they communicate through Bluetooth to the main software, to the PC, so you can have the real-time information during any kind of test or quick start, and as well at the end of the training you will get all this information on the final report. To use as well these sensors you can use out of the treadmill, so it's becoming very interesting if you want to try to get other kind of information walking apart on the treadmill, but all the information will be recorded in the disposals and transmitted to Bluetooth to the final report. Another important features of this walker view is the features of test. So there are different kind of tests inside the software, but maybe the main test is the walker and gait analysis. So through this kind of system, so through the RFID keys that are connected all the Tecnobody devices, it's possible to define exactly the terms and the condition of the test for our users. So what does it mean? That I create a user key for my customer, and based on her gender, in this case female, and age, the software will create the great and the perfect parameters for the test. So I'm going to insert the key, and automatically the system is going to get the parameters for her gait trainer test. How does it work, the test? As you can see at the beginning, obviously the camera is going to recognize the user, and then you can see over here that there is kind of ladder speed that is going to put the speed, to set the speed at a fixed speed based on our client, and it will perform for 30 seconds. At the end, it will drop down. As you can see, we applied as well the new sensors for the feet that will provide more information about the ankle. So as you can see here like a ramp of increasing speed, because we want to start to register, to record the gait analysis exactly from for these 30 seconds from a target of speed. At the end will be the speed will decrease, kind of cool down. The system automatically will generate a report just analyzing the middle phase of the gait training. At the end of the test, as you can see in the big screen, you have the final report. Report that you can show straight away after a few seconds to your user, and you can comment, not waiting days and days to have results. But straight away you can show this report, and the report again is going to show us what? The movement about the upper part of the body, so the trunk in terms of flexion, extension and medium lateral movements, and then about the symmetries of the left and right lower limbs, in particular the range of motion of the left hip compared to the range of motion of the right hip. Same of stuff for the knees, so the range of motion of the left knee and the right one, and through the sensor that we applied previously on the feet, we can have information about the ankles movements in terms of flexion extension, again the comparison in between the left side and the right side, and prono supination. Here in the middle you see one important, very important data that is about the load symmetry. So again we can understand if our user is going to apply more pressure during the stance phase. As well we have information about contact time, always a comparison and the symmetry in between the left side and the right side, and the displacement of the center of gravity. So again, more this center of gravity is going up and down, more it means that the quality and the efficiency of the walk and of the running is very, very low. Here other three important parameters, they show what? They show normative data, so you can show straight away, you can understand very quick anyway if this kind of walk is considered normal for the population, for her gender, for her age or not. In terms of what? In terms of cycle time, so average step cycle time, so the time in between right and left contact step, the step length that you can see over here, and the coefficient of variation, so it means the variation of the step length. As you can see, you can have after the test this elaboration through an instant replay with different kind of speed that you can select, so you can get more information in real time or after days as you want, about the symmetry of the walk and if it's a good kind of quality of walk or not. As you can see over here, it's very easy to understand the right side of the body with the green light compared to the red side. So also through this visual feedback, we get straight away information about the quality of the movement. Quality of the movement, and through this replay, that we can get information in real time about the center of gravity movement, the load applied on the left and on the right, and in this case as well about the hips movement, where you can see both the degrees, the changing degrees in real time, but you can see over here the graphic always with this red and green line that are going to combine the right side and the left side, and you can understand through this graphic straight away if there are some problems, huge problems, or not. On the left side, you can get even more information always through the sensor applied on the top of the feet about the flexion extension and the pronosupination of the ankles. On the top of all of this, it's very important as well to give other kind of information to the customer that in this case she has just a frontal view, but through the power of the camera we can give and show her other kind of information. We can provide this kind of information, rotating the camera 3D all around her, for example, to analyze the trunk movement, to make some comments, or maybe again the frontal, or for example from the top. So you can combine all this kind of information, very important for the trainer, for the therapist, but as well very important for the customer, who can have really a great feedback to understand and to analyze his or her walk. I'm going to introduce now a new feature of the software of the Walker View, this amazing device of Tecnobody. So we started about the training with this biofeedback in real time about the quality, the symmetries of the walk or of the running. We saw after that a test, so all kind of tests that are more precise, are more defined and more specific for each customer to understand the gait for both normal type, so without any kind of injuries, or for neurological patients or for traumatological patients. And one other feature, it's about what you can see over here, it's about the virtual reality. So it's about always a normal walk or running, but something more easygoing. So we don't see any more kind of a lot of information, but we see something easy, like in this case in the middle of the wood, and so it's becoming as well a little bit more funny. So not just about training with all data, but also something that is going to stimulate our customer. As well, over here you get always information about the time, the distance, the elevation, so the inclination of the treadmill, the speed, and we don't want anyway to remember why we created this postural Walker View. So it's all about the posture, so how you walk or how you're running. That's why over here, down over here, you can find information anyway about the main movement of the upper part of the body, so of the trunk, in terms of flexion, extension, and the medium lateral movements. So the software also in the virtual reality provides some feedback to give information about the quality of the movement. At the end of each also virtual reality training, when I'm going to stop the training, the virtual reality, will get the software will provide automatically anyway the gait analysis with all the data that I showed you before. And remember that it's also possible, of course, to select a lot of different kind of virtual realities. Always speaking about the virtual reality, as you can see, I change the virtual reality and I select something really more again more close to the reality. In this case, we are in Paris, so we can give even more a real-time like a feedback of what it can be the normal walk in this case in Paris during a normal day. So something again more functional. So Tecnobody always introduce always new updates, new virtual reality, where the user can have can be more inside the training, can be more involved during a walk or a running, and as well will be for more sport application like virtual reality, for example, for marathon or other kind of races, where before going there you can try to get exactly the same race on the walker view with all the features, all the data about the gait analysis of or a running analysis. That's also important to change different kind of virtual reality to give a little bit always more fun and not to be boring. So there are different kind of virtual reality that the trainer or the therapist can select to change the routine of the workout.